Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. Got 4 men's Olympic basketball games on Tuesday the 30th. Going to be running through those. I've got 5 plays in the between all 4 of those games there. Quick reminder that those are coming out in the Discord a little bit early as well. So if you want to make sure that you get the same price and the same number as what I'm playing here, you want to make sure you are in the Discord. Link is in the description of the video. I'm going to go through how we did. Tough start to the Olympics, but we'll pick it back up. We had a rough start in the playoffs in the NBA as well, and definitely ended up much more up there as well. So we'll look to continue that here in the Olympics. Let's get into it. Also, a quick reminder, props.cash does have men's Olympic basketball stats up right now on their site. Data's still coming in because this is a newer feature for them, but it's awesome, and it's the only place that you can find it. So quick reminder, you can get 25% off props.cash if you do want to use that tool for the rest of the summer and moving forward as we get into football and basketball as well. Off the first couple months there, you can get some discounts if you do head to props.cash. Use the code LYB24 and get going. Quick look at the record. Like I said, struggled to start 1-5. I threw a I threw a bet for Jokic into the Discord. That didn't make it into the video. I found that a little bit late. Also missed that one. So we went 1-5, lost almost 4 units. Got to be honest with you guys. I mean, that's how we started the playoffs in the NBA as well. Started to get a feel for things and get a little bit more data. Ended that up plus 11 units, including the futures bets that we hit. Still got some futures up right now as well in a separate video if you do want to check those out. Some of those are still good and at a pretty good price as well. So I would check those out in the other video. But we'll look to turn this record around starting now. Calling this the best bet of the day. I really love Jock Landale in this game against Canada. So we're taking him for the points and rebounds combined. Best price there is 365. Bet 365 if you have it. If you don't have it, I do like this at 20.5 points and rebounds combined. You're going to find that on most other books, which is a big reason that I wanted to jump on this and gave it out in the Discord early enough for those in the Discord to get it. But I did put 1.25 units on this to get it back to a full unit. If you take this at 20.5 points and rebounds combined, I would just leave it at 1 unit, play your normal amount, but I felt so comfortable with this one. I went ahead and made sure I got a full unit back in my winnings once this hits, right? So if you look at what we're talking about here, we're talking about a dude who just came off of a really good game, 20-9, right, in the opener versus the Spanish team there for Jock. And they're better down low, are the Spaniards, than this Canada team. This Canada team, very weak down low. They like to go guard heavy, and they have really good wings and guards that can get boards and are versatile. So they don't mind going small, but that's just going to be food for Jock Landale at that point. There's, Kelly Olynyk, Dwight Powell. These are the types of bigs that are getting out there for the Canadian squad. So Jock Landale should eat. You look at the guards, however, they sucked for Greece. And granted, the strength of Greece's team is Giannis, but the guards also went 5 for 25 combined against Canada, in part because of the fact that Canadian wings are so good, right? Dylan Brooks, Lou Dort, you got Nikhil Walker, Alexander Walker coming off the bench as well. So they're stockpiled there with defensive wings that can limit guards and forwards. But centers like Jock are going to continue to eat against this team. And I think the fact that we saw so much usage against a good Spanish front court like the Hernan Gomez brothers and Santi Aldama, like he still did work in those games against a much better team there. And he led them in field goal attempts. And that's not really an outlier for Jock Landale. He's done this now 3 times in the games leading up to the Olympics, and now the first game of the Olympics where he's led this team in field goals, right? So I think we continue to feel good about his involvement, especially because he is running that pick and roll with Josh Giddey. So he's a big part of the offense. I honestly wish I could find assists for him. He had like 3 or 4 last game, and I expect him to continue to get a high assist count because of the fact that he's getting that ball off the pick and roll, and now he has the option to go up or to pass to the wings. I couldn't find assists anywhere for Jock. If you do, I would go ahead and take it at like over 3.5 for good money. You should be able to find it at like 2.5 if they put this line out correctly, which I'm not sure they're going to. So that might be a moot point, but the points and rebounds are still a great bet for our boy in this one. Somewhat correlated here, we're going under Josh Giddey on his points, 18.5. And this is in part because there's such a big discrepancy between Bet365 and all the other books. So if you want to go under on Bet365, minus 115 for 18.5 points. If you want to go under on most of the major other books, such as DraftKings, FanDuel, BetMGM, those are anywhere from minus 113 to minus 145 for 17.5. So we get a full point here that we get an extra point to go under for Giddey using 365. Plus we get a better price, like minus 115 is as good as you're going to find for a worse number, right? So I feel really good about getting that price in and locked in for Giddey. And if you look at the way that, he's sort of leading this team, it's by passing. It's by being the facilitator and the guy that's got, really the keys to the offense. And like I said, in the Landale stuff, he's running that pick and roll with Landale, and they're letting him shoot from distance because that's not his forte. He did go 2 for 4 in the last game, but I wouldn't expect him to do that consistently. So with the minutes he's consistently getting, which should be around 28 to 30, but the shot attempts should remain at about like 13 to 12 in that range for him. He's making mostly twos, right? So to get 19 points off of mostly twos, 13 field goal attempts, it's going to be really tough for him to get that all the way up to 19 points. Even 18 points is probably a good under for him, but this was such a good steal at minus 115 for him to go under 18.5 points. One more from this game. We are going with RJ Barrett. I'm going right back to him, man. And we should have called this earlier with the Jamal Murray stuff out. I really thought SGA was just going to up his amount of attempts and the way that he dominated the offense. But that wasn't the case. RJ Barrett was clearly the second option and honestly ended up with more field goal attempts than SGA. Even if you look at the way that SGA got fouled so consistently, he got to the free throw line 10 times. Even if you add those 5 field goal attempts or so for SGA that were shot attempts that, he went to the line instead of getting the shot attempt. Even in that sense, RJ still outshot him. He had 16 total if you add the free throw attempts as field goals, right? So with Jamal Murray not in there, we've just really got a situation where, yes, SGA is going to be the dude who runs everything, but RJ Barrett is the second option. No questions asked on that one. And Dillon Brooks and Lou Dort are much more spot ups and expected to play a lot more defense, whereas RJ's got a much easier defensive matchup, so he's not really using as much energy on that side of the floor and has clearly stepped into that role as Batman to Shai Gilgeous's Robin, right? And Shai Gilgeous is the Batman. Obviously, he's the Robin to his Batman. But Jamal Murray, not really a worry. And if you listen to the coach, Jordi Fernandez, talk about the possibility of Jamal getting back up to his minutes to normal, it doesn't really seem likely. He kind of made clear that Jamal Murray needed to come in this last game because Dort and Dillon Brooks fouled out, which is why you saw him in a little bit more around crunch time, whereas he might not be getting even 22 minutes the way he didn't last game for Jamal Murray. He's ramping back up, and until they feel like he's really ready to go, he's a dude that just hasn't really seemed to care much about the international basketball for Canada, and I'm going to continue to buy into that notion that he's not really going to be as big of a participant in the offense as RJ Barrett will be in this one. All right, a couple more here going to that Japan and France game. Josh Hawkinson is the center for the Japanese team. Dude's played really well for them and dominates the Japan League where he plays. Not so much the case here in international play. Now, I'm taking him under 11.5 points. It is minus 130. He's going up against the 2 best shot blockers in the league in the NBA, and they're on one team, right? And we've talked about how there's no defensive 3 seconds. So these 2 7'4", whatever they are, behemoths can just stand right next to the rim and bother guys like Josh Hawkinson, who's got about 4 or 5 inches that he's giving up to both of these players, right? He's not going to be able to score from the only place that he really has had success scoring, which is from right next to the basket, right? So within 5 feet is where he made all 4 of the shots that went in for him in the last game. You saw Brazil go 11 for 24 in the last game inside the paint against this French squad. Bruno Caboclo, huge amount of trouble, right? Got in foul trouble, only played 11 minutes. Now his backup came in and did pretty well, but France really turned off the gas at that point. Hawkinson's a starter, right? He's a dude that if they're down big, which is a very high likelihood in this game for the Japanese against France, then you're not going to necessarily see the starter get quite as many minutes. He played a lot in the last game, I will give him that, but still only got the 13 points against a much worse down low defense in that game there against Germany, where Germany's good down low, don't get me wrong, but it ain't France. It ain't Rudy and Wemby on the floor at the same time. When you saw him in against Rudy alone last year without even Wemby playing in the FIBA World Cup against when these two teams faced off, 4 points, 7 boards, no free throw attempts, which could be huge for him if he was actually going to get those free throws. That might scare me a little bit more, but this French team doesn't really allow free throws because they can block you without really needing to foul you, as we saw in the first game there for them in their first win. So we're going to continue to feel good about the French limiting the opposing big men, which should be the case for Hawkinson to go under 11.5 points. And finally, we've got another under that might seem scary and very silly, but we're taking Rudy under 7.5 boards, plus 120, and I got a half a unit on it because we get the nice plus money here. I really wanted to take it last game. I overthought things last game heavily. I should have just gone with what I know, and what I know is that Rudy, when he's played with Wemby in an international competition, has not been getting even 7 rebounds, even 8 rebounds. Now, he's gotten 7 a couple times, but he's only averaging 5.2 boards per game with Wemby. Like, look at these numbers without him in international play. This is all last year and one game this year. So there's been 12 games last year, 11 games last year, one game this year that he's played without Wemby. In the one game this year that he's played without Wemby leading up to the Olympics, he went over. Everything else is an under, right? So the 12 games since last year without him, 11 of those 12 he's gone over, averaging 8.4 points, rebounds per game. With Wemby in an international competition, which includes 6 games this year, 0 for 6, averaging 5.2 rebounds per game. Wemby is the leading rebounder on this team. It was the case in the last one, and it should be the case again, right? Like, there's a lot of Wemby being a little bit more down low as the other team's center tries to pull Rudy from the basket. Well, Wemby's able to just sort of meander and just sort of roam around the rim with the ability to block things from all over the court. So with that in mind, Rudy is going to continue to be a little bit out of position. We're going to take him for some plus money to get less than 8 boards in this one. And that is all the time that I have for you in this one. Looking to pick it back up. I am going to have probably a couple more bets here in the Discord, including getting ahead of some of the stuff that will be in the video for Wednesday's slate. So I will have another video out with these picks for you guys coming on for Wednesday. That'll be coming out tomorrow on Tuesday. So make sure you subscribe to the page and check that out. But if you do want these bets early, like I keep telling you, jump into the Discord. Link is in the description of the video. Get some access to me as well if you want to chop it up about some stuff. We can keep it going with these Olympics. Get back into the plus comp. So until I see you next, happy betting.